Will come to order. We are convened as of 5:30 p.m. I would respectfully ask everyone attending this meeting to mute yourself unless you are recognized to speak. Please note the committee meetings of the RTD Board of Directors will be held remotely via Zoom and will be audio and video recorded. The meeting recordings, along with the unofficial minutes of the meetings, will be posted as soon as practical on the board's website. During today's meeting, we are providing communication access real-time translation, also known as CART. Anyone who would like to access this service should send an email to the RTD board office at rtd.boardoffice@rtd-denver.com, and a link will be provided. Additionally, the CART transcript can be automatically translated into Spanish for anyone who would like access to a live transcript of this meeting in Spanish. A live stream of this meeting is also available via RTD's YouTube page. I would now like to call the roll for the committee members. Director Busick.
Here.
Director Chandler.
Present.
Director Nicholson.
I am here.
Director O'Keefe.
Yes, sir.
Director Pagliari. I saw you earlier.
Yes, he was on earlier.
We lose him?
I'll keep a lookout for him, but I don't
All right.
believe he's on.
All right, sounds good. Director Whitmore.
Present.
Okay, and I'm Director Harwick. So we have 6.5 out of 7. And now we will move on to public comment. And I also see that Chair Bouquet is here and Director Guzman. Is there anybody else, Mr. Kroll?
Larson.
Okay, all right, Director Larson, thanks for joining us as well. All right, now I'm going to move on to public comment. To anyone who would like to address the committee regarding any topic listed in the published meeting agenda for the current and immediately preceding month. If you wish to speak and have not already done so, please either raise your virtual hand or press *9 on your phone. During this time, the committee will not offer any direct comments or responses. However, if you would like to be contacted regarding your public comment, please email the RTD board at rtd.directors@rtd-denver.com. Mr. Kroll, do we have any public comments?
Committee Chair Harwick, this is Jack Kroll, Executive Manager of the Board Office. We have one individual present who has raised their hand. That is Paolo Solorzano.
Okay. All right, Mr. Solorzano, if you would, please state your name and then you may proceed.
Yeah, hi. Paulo Solorzano with the RTD Riders Alliance. Yeah, I'm calling in, I guess, first off to, give a little kudos to RTD for better, digital signage. It seems to be working much better throughout the system, not as many malfunctions as a year ago, but there are still a few that have problems, and specifically like by Mile High Stadium. I've called those in a few times, but I think that is important right now with the new focus on events. But I am calling regarding also security, regarding bus operators. I've sent some emails to board members, and specifically, well, first off, before I go into that, I do want to give praise to some kudos again to Chief Martingano. First off, for creating the Detective Bureau and the Victim Advocate Program. Literally, that is a very huge thing for riders and for everybody, to avoid confusion if they are a victim on RTD. Dealing with DPD. Or other jurisdictions, now, like the chief said, if it happens on RTD property, RTD should take care of it, and that is a massive step. And really quick, I did email some board members about a bus stop on Uinta and Colfax. Sarahi's Mexican restaurant is there. She's a very nice person. It's got a 4.8 rating on Google, but she is in massive debt. And there's a bus stop right there that is a massive problem. A lot of bus operators have confirmed with me that they're having problems there too, like everyone I've talked to. But there's open drug dealing there. It's right in front of the the restaurant. And I went there today. I'm sorry to cut this short real here, but I went there today and I was talking to her outside of her door, and somebody from the bus stop came up to her and approached her and threatened her in front of me and everybody. Saying, hey, are you reporting us? Are you calling, this in? And it's gotten to that point. But yeah, I've spoken to, we're trying to help her out there. The DPD did say that what has helped in the past is Alameda and Broadway bus stops that had massive problems in the news and all that those were taken away, and the problem did move away. They said the same thing happened at Colfax, High, Franklin, and Downing. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from DPD that helps. But yeah, anyway, that's it for right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. Kroll, do we have anybody else?
There are no further speakers in the queue. You all did receive some written public comment, and if you'd like, I can share the names and the tenets of those letters briefly.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Great. So Taylor Lucas wrote in regarding RTD buses and illegal parking in RTD bus stops. Steve Lodeman wrote in regarding the Platte Valley Flex Ride. Laura Porter wrote in regarding Broncos Ride. You all received a resolution from Longmont City Council urging RTD to implement service to Denver International Airport. Melissa Clemens wrote in regarding recommendations for the service improvements. And Jimmy Mole wrote in regarding the service changes proposed for January 2026. And the Alliance to Transform Transportation wrote in regarding guiding principles for your forthcoming COA, or Comprehensive Operations Analysis.
All right. Thank you. And with no other participants in the queue, we will close the public comment period at this time. There are no external entity reports on the agenda for today's meetings. Now we're going to move on to recommended actions. We have 2 recommended actions on tonight's agenda. The first item is for the January 2026 service change for the Board of Directors to approve the proposed January 2026 service change as summarized in Attachment A, and authorize the General Manager and CEO or her designee to execute contract amendments necessary to deliver the approved service plan. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second, Whitmore.
Right, I've got O'Keefe as the mover and Whitmore as the second. I would like to ask Patrick Preuser, Chief Operations Officer, and Jesse Carter, Senior Manager, Service Development, to present this item to the committee.
Thank you very much, Chair Harwick. This is Patrick Preuser, Chief Operations Officer, again, here to talk more about the January 2026 service change. Approval of these proposed changes is being sought. Again, this recommended action was discussed on October 15th with recommended action today. The purpose of this is to maintain service quality, align with utilization, and comply with collective bargaining agreements, as well as RTD service standards. These changes are cost neutral. Just to summarize some of the route restorations, we have the D line downtown loop via Central Corridor, the H line Southmore to downtown loop, the L line 30th and Downing to 16th and Stout. As far as route adjustments and enhancements go, we have Route 6 where we've added Tripper to be responsive to feedback from Hill Middle School. So I think staff is very excited about that. We have the Longmont routes, essentially the Kaufman Corridor restored, and the regional routes extended. There's some minor timing changes on multiple routes. I'll just briefly name those routes: 00B, 4, 9, 43, 44, 51, 76, 145X, 153, and the FMR. As far as reductions, we have been responsive to feedback during the public comment period and ultimately the Platte Valley Flex Ride. This continuance is to take effect during the May 2026 service change. We did conduct all of the public outreach via the virtual meetings, and that feedback has been summarized for the board. Again, the financial impact is cost neutral, and ultimately, what you have before you helps us preserve the transit network integrity, ultimately align service with demand, and is responsive to customer input. We're happy to try to answer any questions that you may have about the recommended action.
All right. I see Director Nicholson, and in the interest of time, I'm going to cap you at 3 minutes here, Chris. I've yet to figure out second or third questions, but just to start, you got 3.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So first off, I just want to say thank you so much to staff. The tripper on the 6 was a significant issue for middle schoolers and their families in my district, and staff was incredibly responsive and took the time to listen and engaged really thoughtfully. And we're getting that addressed, so a bunch of junior high school kids are going to be able to get home from school safely and effectively, and that makes me incredibly happy. So thank you, really, Patrick and your whole team, for the engagement that you did to figure that out, make that happen, and work with the community to address that. The Platte Valley Flex Ride, I understand the delay on ending that. I think listening to the folks is right. I do, as we've talked about over the last couple of months, we are going to have to make adjustments sooner rather than later, and it's going to be a lot bigger than just the Platte Valley Flex Ride. So I do hope that, when we start to face these considerations, we're not afraid to make them when we have to, rather than necessarily, delaying them over and over again in order to avoid too much backlash. Sometimes you just have to cut the tumor off, so to speak. The last question I have for you, and really the only question I have, is one of the challenges that we had last year with the downtown loop, which I live on basically in the middle of, was that we were able to, the construction teams were able to finish the updates sooner than the service was able to resume, and there was a good month period between the downtown rail reconstruction work being done and service coming back. And I was wondering if there's anything you can speak to, recognizing all the things going on, about the agency's ability to address that differently this year.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I guess my response to that is, for the near-term completion of construction, we are prepared to commence passenger service as soon as that work is completed. I want to be careful and thoughtful as to not get out in front of any news releases or media releases that we're going to do. And I can tell you that staff internally recognizes the importance from a customer experience and service delivery perspective to ensure that we can restore to normal operations when these types of state of good repair projects are completed. And we've been making all of the necessary adjustments in order to do that.
GM CEO Johnson, I see you hand up.
Yes, thank you very kindly, Mr. Chair. Good evening, all. Deborah Johnson, General Manager and Chief Executive Officer. To supplement what Chief Operations Officer Preußer stated, wanted to ensure that this body was aware that on Monday, November 17th, we will launch our communications plan surrounding the restoration of service relative to the work that's been done at Calumet. And it will be a multifaceted approach to inform people of the temporary service that will be implemented until the service change commences in January. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just very quickly, I just want to say that's fantastic to hear, and really, really appreciate it as someone who relies on the downtown loop on a regular basis. And literally, it is the service that is most critical to where I live and where I represent. It's phenomenal to hear you guys on the ball to take care of that. So thank you again.
Director O'Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chairman, so just a couple questions. Thank you for seeing all the feedback. That was really helpful. Like Director Nicholson, I appreciate the outreach that went into it. Two things that came up in the commentary that focused on my district. I'll ask both questions, and you can either tell me yes, no, or don't know. So one thing on the D line that came up over and over again is, it's kind of split. You got people that want to go, love the fact that we changed it to go to the Union Station. And there are people that, can't wait for it to get back to the central business district. There are a couple people that said, hey, you run every 15 minutes. What if we alternated between C and D? And I know that's probably way easier to say than do. But if that ever could be a possibility, and certainly even on the weekends doing that, because Union Station obviously has all the sports and everything that people might go down to for on the weekend. But that's one question. Is that a possible thing? And obviously the best part would be getting the C line back. I understand there are a lot of other demands on the system. So a plug for that, but I understand that's probably not, likely at this exact moment. The second was on the Zero, there was some concerns about the connections with other bus routes. Does the new service plan do anything to resolve those? I think it did, but I'm not experienced enough to look at the schedules and be able to tell if that's what it did. So it's just two easy questions, hopefully.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I see Jesse Carter, our Senior Manager of Service Development, has his hand up, so I will yield the floor to him and then add any additional comments.
Committee Chair, if I may.
Please.
Okay, two great questions. I'll start with the first one. As far as our experience with operating what used to be the C line and what is currently also the D line, we did operate them both at one point in time. What we did in an effort to simplify our system and actually create a system that's more sustainably kept on time, we did choose between 4 different corridors, those being the D, the C, the D, the E, and the F. And in doing so, we did see an increase in on-time performance. So the reason behind getting rid of the C was it was a hard-fought decision, and those two routes in ridership were very close. So it's not unusual whenever we go into detour that we do see folks asking for the retention of the C. The downside of splitting the frequency of the two, you'll probably find as many people who then will desire to go back to the higher frequency of the previous setup. So I'm not saying it can't be done, but I think there are detrimental results that go on with that. And that's something I'm more than willing to speak further about. Now, as far as the Route Zero is concerned, that was one of the reasons why we were making the changes to the Zero schedule, is so that we could make a better connection specifically at Inglewood Station. I'm sorry, at Broadway at 25. And I believe the team has gone through that schedule and made the necessary adjustments for better connections there.
Thank you. Thanks on both.
Any other questions? Okay. Are there any no votes? Okay, and I want to also recognize that Director Pagliari has been able to join us. So with the 7 yeses and no nos and no abstentions, this motion passes. The second and final action for this committee is for the Board of Directors to adopt RTD and customer shared commitments and incorporate these commitments into the ongoing Respect the Ride awareness campaign. Do we have a motion?
I motion.
Okay, Director Chandler is our motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Pagliari.
Okay, all right. Now I would ask Committee Vice Chair Chandler to present this item to the committee.
Well, thank you so much, Director Harwick. I'm excited about this. I think it's been in the works for quite a while, just kind of tightening up some of the expectations that not only writers have of RTD, but what RTD expects out of our customers, right? And so this is a place where we can put this, I'm hoping at the beginning on our customer page where they go and look at all of the expectations that are listed there. And this will kind of tighten it up a little bit more. There's some hyperlinks that are included in it. And it just really pretty much puts everything together in one spot and makes it a little bit more readable. The expectation, public transportation is a vital public service, but access to it isn't an unlimited right. And RTD is responsible for providing service that are safe, secure, reliable, accessible within its defined service and within its financial capacity. And I think it's really exciting that we have a space where it's all listed out what we expect, not only out of RTD, what is our service, what should we provide to the customer, but also those expectations that we have of the customer too. So we expect them to pay their fare and to behave well. And I think this gives a little bit more teeth to what we are trying to accomplish. So I'm kind of excited that it's going to live on that page, and I entertain any questions.
Okay. At this time, I would ask those directors who have questions or who wish to speak to raise your virtual hands. And I see Director Nicholson. You have the 3 minutes, my friend.
Appreciate it. So I have serious concerns about this because it is so well put together and I don't get to take credit for any of it. I just wanted to say that I think Director Chandler did a fantastic job, and sorry, Kathleen, I look forward to supporting it.
Well, thank you, Director Nicholson. I appreciate it. And you didn't even take your 3 full minutes, so I'm impressed with that. But I also want to give kudos to Director Pagliari. He helped as well. And this was not an idea that necessarily that Director Pagliari and I came up with. This has been in the works for a while. And so I want to give the past board had this idea, and it wasn't able to be advanced in the past, but I'm really excited that it can be advanced today.
Okay, Director Nicholson. Okay, all right. Do I have any more questions? Director Pagliari.
Sorry, I actually have a comment. Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Vice Chair Chandler. This has been a good thing to work on, and I think this is important. It seems a little bit theatrical, or we got the comment that it was theatrical in the past, but this will actually have real world application. I think this is more of it's something bold, and I think it is something good for us to do, and I hope that everyone supports it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you both. Oh, Director Guzman.
Sorry, just continuing that conversation, and this is for whomever wants to take it, but what is the real world application of this? The code of conduct that we branded Respect the Ride actually had consequences, and that was a big part of the discussion of updating the rules of participation with the RTD, and the legal processes and the administrative processes to move things forward when our expectations were not met. This seems to be simplifying it, so I'm not quite sure what that comment meant, and I'm asking out of true, sincere curiosity, because I don't understand how restating the code of conduct or the Respect the Ride expectations actually changes any administrative policy that we have.
May I answer that, Director Harwick?
Please.
I understand your question, Director Guzman, and I think what this does is it puts it all in one place. It makes it a little bit more easily readable. It allows for those hyperlinks to bring it to where you're talking about getting the consequences. But I think it also outlines exactly what our expectation is of RTD. I mean, we always want to put this back on the customer. What do we expect out of them? Yes, we do expect them to act and do and pay and all of those things. But I also think that it's good for the customer to realize that we're involved in this too, that there should be some expectation from us. So I think it clearly outlines a little bit more detail that this is a win-win situation, and that it isn't just one way. And so that's really what my practical application is. I think it helps the customer understand, and I think it holds us a little bit more accountable.
You good, Director Guzman? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Are there any no votes on this action? Okay, with 7 yes votes and no votes and no abstentions, this motion passes. Now we are going to move on to our discussion items. We have one item up for discussion, and that is for the transit police update. I would like to ask Steve Martingano, Chief of Police and Emergency Management, to present this item to the committee.
All right, thank you for having me. Again, as mentioned, Steve Martingano is my screen sharing right now.
No, it's just you.
Okay. Try this again here.
Now you're good.
Perfect, thank you. All right, I'm going to give you the Transit Police and Emergency Management update. So we're going to go over 4 steps here: the strategic implementation, the 4-step action plan, the strategic priority alignment, as well as performance metrics and progress. So for strategic implementation, for 2025, going into 2026, enhancing public trust, we're going to maintain a regular presence, enforcing the customer code of conduct, as well as conducting fare sweeps and enforcement by the RTD PD officers. We're building a better RTD. It shows 94 post-certified officers. We hired a few more this week. We're actually at 97. And this shows 10 recruits. One got injured, so we're down to 9 recruits currently in the police academy. We do have the Detective Bureau, which consists of 4 detectives and a detective lieutenant. That started a couple of weeks ago, and they are joined within that unit with a victim advocate. We have the service excellence. So again, our bus and train live look-in cameras, our customer experience elevator program, which I think we expanded to 10 as of today's date, and we replaced over 360 cameras, added or replaced them to get better quality. And in customer and community connections, we're closing the loop with the officer-initiated responses, really understanding where the hotspots are within our district. The Transit Watch app promotion, we continue to push that out, and then coordinating efforts with other police jurisdictions. For those that don't know, we go through 8 counties and 40 cities, so we keep a constant conversation with those sheriff's departments as well as the municipality police jurisdictions within the RTD district. Our 4-step action plan, this went into place in July of 2024. One was high visibility policing. So utilizing a visible deterrent, maintaining a strong uniform presence on our vehicles and our platforms and transit hubs. We do a community-focused approach where we positively interact with customers, building relationships and trust, as well as attending community-related events throughout our district. And then bike impact team. So we were 6 bikes were donated to us. We have them all ready to be set up. We just need to send our officers for training. And right now, the bicycle training is shut down for the winter months. So in the spring, we should have a large scale of our officers that are going to be trained and be able to take those bicycles out, which are really going to be important for the W line, where we have a clear bike path along our light rail areas. Customer education, informing customers about the customer code of conduct through signage announcements as well as outreach efforts. Clear expectations of really making sure our customers understand the behaviors that are expected while they're utilizing RTD services for the Respect to Ride, and in building trust. So again, going out there, contacting individuals, educating them first is going to build community trust and provide that welcoming transit environment. Proof of payment enforcement. So we've really had a huge emphasis in the last several months in regards to going out there and conducting fare checks, and again with our fare sweeps. Fair and consistent enforcement, we treat everyone the same. So if someone doesn't have fare, we educate them, and then depending on prior contacts, if we have to write them a citation or not, based off of our fare enforcement model. and then data-driven approach. So again, we're utilizing where, we are seeing individuals get on, our customers get on buses, mostly buses as well as some trains, in regards to understanding where the high volume of our customer base is, and making sure that they're being consistent in regards to purchasing fare for those trips. And then technology is huge for us. RTD puts a lot of emphasis in technology. So we've added 40% more cameras along the end line. We replaced, as mentioned earlier, added or replaced over 360 cameras. We have our body worn cameras, which we updated that through our Axon is our provider of those. So we updated to the latest body worn camera technology. We're in the midst of implementing our new CAD and RMS, our computer aided dispatch, as well as our record management system through Motorola, and then VPN. So it's really great as our officers are able to hop on with the VPN with their laptops, and they're actually able to check the cameras throughout our district, which has really reduced patrol time, and really having our officers be present at areas that are where they see suspicious behavior and need to go to, rather than just aimlessly drive through our 2,300 square miles. And in virtual reality training, we have the virtual reality training, which has really been helpful in regards to de-escalation, crisis intervention. We have tasers, so it's helped us in regards to getting people certified on the tasers through the virtual reality. And it's given our officers, sometimes they don't see every type of call. We have 60 modules within our virtual reality training, and has allowed them to go to different scenarios and understand them through the virtual reality of that training. So when they go out there, they're better prepared. Our communications team has done a wonderful job of putting this RTD-Denver.com Your Safety webpage on. It really gives a really good look into our police department. We update it regularly in regards to showcasing the efforts that we put forth and any new initiatives. So continuing with strategic priority alignment, community value, as mentioned earlier, a lot of community meetings to strengthen relationships, as well as community events. We have our RTD PD cadet program. We have 3 cadets that are interning from 3 different colleges within the metropolitan area, learning about policing. And it really gives them an emphasis in regards to, developing their bachelor's degree and understanding if policing is the direction they want to go to when they graduate. Again, we continue to educate our public about our police department and Transit Watch app. And then we've done several tabletop exercises, not only here at RTD, but we also work with different businesses, sporting events, Rockies, Coors Field, and others. We're always sitting at the table in regards to large scale events to make sure how RTD could be utilized in any type of a critical incident. Customer excellence. So again, crime prevention through a visible presence. So again, the fare sweeps, presence, as well as monitoring our parking rides, and then transparent policing. Responding to customer care issues. That is one of the ways we receive reports is customers calling through our customer care. So we monitor those, and we make sure that officers are contacting customers that had called in, not only for complaints, but as well as commendations as well. And then again, we broke down our map into 5 sectors. And our commanders that are in charge of that have really been doing a great job in regards to building relationships within those specific areas that are outlined within their area of responsibility. Employee ownership. We've promoted a lot from internally, which has been really helpful for us in regards to retention. So we promoted 2 corporals, 9 sergeants, and 4 lieutenants, all within the ranks and files of our police department. And then we really do a good job in regards to training. RTD has a great training program for their supervisors here, but we've also gone out and sent our officers to training that are a little bit more police focused as well. The FBI Leader Trilogy program is a huge example of that. We're actually winning the award. It's going to be presented to our agency here in a couple of weeks, that all of our command staff has gone through the Trilogy program. So it's a huge honor to be recognized with that award. And then I'm just going to go over some of our metrics here in the past several months. So this is something that that we place out there. We utilize it a lot on social media. I actually put it on my LinkedIn multiple times. We're about a month behind in regards to getting true ridership numbers. but we are pretty up to date in regards to security calls. So when we get everything together, and the reason why we really want to wait for the ridership numbers on that is, if you could see in that one section, one security call for every 2,000 riders really focuses on the perception that our transit system is not safe. 1 out of 2,000 is a pretty good number for, and again, even those security related calls could be anything that was called into our dispatch. So that's the kind of stuff we really want to emphasize. A lot of it's perception based in regards to not feeling safe, and these these activity report cards really showcase that we are a great system, and we are trending. Here you can show July a -12%, and then August a -11% in regards to security calls from last year to this year. We recorded a 2.1 month over month-to-month decrease in security related calls. And then going back to 2024, we've had huge decreases. And then this is a really good stat, is our illicit drug activity has shown a 28.6% year-to-year decrease, which is really huge. Again, that's a perception base that everyone's on our system utilizing drugs, and we're really showcasing that that's not occurring here. So here's just numbers in regards to our security incident reports. You can see 2025 is compared to 2023 and 2024, we've declined every month. Calls for service, again, showing from last year to this year, we've decreased every month. September, we upticked just a little bit, but overall, we had about 14 straight months of decreases. And we're on pace again to have another huge decrease in regards to last year to this year. Calls at Denver Union Station continue to trend downwards. Right now, we're already into September, and we're going to show a huge decline from 2025 to 2024 in regards to the vast improvement and really the focus we put at Denver Union Station in the last year. Going back to the drug use, those numbers have dropped. You could see March, it went from 319 calls to 99, February 310 to 56. Just again, for our officers being out there, being visible, has really showed, how that emphasis in policing has really shown true results. Transit Watch incidents, our Transit Watch continues to grow in regards to people downloading, but our customers who are our eyes and ears out there have been showing that their rides have been better and safer for them. They haven't shown incidents that they're reporting on the vehicles. And then again, our rail proof of payment checks have gone up dramatically month to month. From January all the way to this year alone, we've seen over 150,000 customers being contacted for their fare on our systems. So again, our Transit Watch app, we all know that it's both available in English and Spanish versions. And that's the end of my report. So I'll stop sharing here.
Thank you, Chief. Director Nicholson, you have your 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And I really appreciate the phenomenal presentation by Chief Martingano. You all are doing, your department's doing a really amazing job. I have a question, especially as we're coming up on the winter months. What is the what is the standard operating procedure that your officers go through when they encounter someone on a bus, or really more a light rail or commuter rail train, who is unhoused and cannot pay their fare? How do we deal with that, and how often do we end up removing that person, even when they are not otherwise violating the code of conduct? And I should say, so excluding the people who are violating the code of conduct in other ways, when we're dealing with folks who are not otherwise violating the code of conduct, what is your standard operating procedure in those situations?
Yeah, so what we usually do is, a lot of our issues are more end of line based. In regards to the colder months, people riding over to the end of the line, and then we have to take the train to the tail tracks and come back out. We work really, really closely with the Littleton Police Department over at Mineral Station, Lone Tree at Ridgegate, and Jefferson County in regards to the W line areas that we sometimes experience issues. Again, our commanders are doing a great job in regards to reaching out to those police departments and focusing on help and needs. we do have 97 police officers, but you kind of, break that down throughout shifts. We can't be at every single location. So we really work with them. And what we usually do in regards to that is we'll contact individuals, see if we could try to get them into a place of need, based maybe on weather conditions. If they refuse at that point, then we do ask them to exit the train. Sometimes we'll ride with them to a little bit more populated area. At Ridgegate, there's nothing there but a parking garage. Really at this point in time. So we'll sometimes either go back to a couple of stops and get them to a little bit more populated area and see if there's somewhere there that they could go and get out of the shelter. But they are adults at that point in time. We kind of follow the same standards that all the police departments in the metropolitan area. When we get the cold weather alerts and emergencies, you contact individuals, you try to get them into a place of shelter. A lot of places like churches and such open up for those events. And if they don't want to go to there, we just document that, Chris Nicholson said he didn't want to go to a church to stay warm. We told him that it can't be on the train. We document all that on our contact card, and then we treat them like anybody else that doesn't have fare at that point in time. Ask them to either purchase fare and have a destination, or exit the vehicle.
Director Nicholson, do you have a follow-up, or do you have just a different question?
I have a follow-up to that, actually. So when you said Chief Martingano, that you asked them if they've purchased, if they have a destination, are you saying that, if someone says, yeah, I'm going to this station, you will generally let them ride to a given station and get off the train at that station, and in order to basically facilitate if they're trying to get from point A to point B? Am I understanding what you meant there correctly?
Yeah. So what we do is we'll contact them. We'll run their name to see if they've been contacted before. Depending on our fare, matrix in regards to that, maybe a warning citation, depending on how many times they're in our system through our records management system. And then, like I said, we usually ask them if they, to purchase a fare at that point in time. It depends also on if it's one stop away. We might ride with them that one stop away, make sure they get off at that stop, and tell them, hey, if you want to continue, you need to either purchase a fare through your cell phone, purchase it at the TVM machine. Based on that, it's pretty much how we deal with how we kind of contact all of our customers. Understanding, obviously, if they're in our system 10, 15 times, they're going to get their citation, their suspension. And then, we'll ask them that, they obviously know the system a little bit more, that we're not going to let them go 3 or 4 different stops. But again, all that's going to be based off of the contact, what the officer finds. So I can't give you a specific answer for every single one of our customers. But that's pretty much how we train our officers and our security officers to, work with the individual, find out if they understand the open system philosophy, if they've been contacted before. If they haven't been contacted, make sure they're placed in into our records management system, so that they're not doing this every single day with somebody else.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Director O'Keefe.
Just real quick, Mr. Chair, Chief Martingano, I just wanted to tell you that I have gotten a lot of feedback from law enforcement leaders, elected officials in my district about your outreach and connection with them, and it's incredible, and I want to thank you for that. It makes our job easier. I know your job isn't easy. You make it look a little bit easy with these stats, but I just wanted to tell you that I really appreciate the work you're doing to reach out to law enforcement in the district. They want to be our partners, and you're allowing them to do that. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I mean, our approach really is to work with them as opposed to moving the problem. We don't want to move a problem from one area to another. And I think that outreach and speaking with them and meeting with them, has really gained them. They're assisting us as much as we're assisting them. So I'm glad you're hearing that feedback. Thank you so much.
Director Busick.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chief. You mentioned some promotions, and my question kind of relates to that and a challenge that I've seen in other smaller police departments, in that you become top heavy after a while, and you have fewer and fewer people on the trains, on the street, as everybody's moving up. Is that a challenge that this department faces, and are you taking steps to avoid that?
Yeah, so it's not a challenge right now. We have a good amount of police officers, so a lot of our promotions have been span of control, making sure that we had enough officers underneath supervision. We didn't want to have, one sergeant having 14 officers under them, where another one might have only three. So we want to make sure, there's a lot of trust around the police department. They're going around 2,300 square miles, so there is a need for supervision, but also having the right leaders in place to making sure that our officers are focused on our mission and our goal and going out there. So, yeah, thankfully we're not having the top heaviness. And one thing that we're finding here, and we had to shut down our application process again. A lot of people want to come here. I think a lot of it is word of mouth. A lot of it is our department, obviously the backing of our board, but especially our GM and CEO. A lot of officers come here and say that they don't have that same type of feeling that they have at their municipality or within their organization. So we're really doing a good job here in regards to promoting that. And also, one of our cells, and we hear a lot is, and yourself being a police officer, if I go to your house, I have no idea if you have 20 guns in your closet, if you have where your kitchen knives are stored, if family members are hiding behind a couch. Here they go on our trains and buses. We've taken away so much of that stress, elements of them on their everyday calls, and that's really being seen and focused. I mean, we all wear a uniform, so I never want to make it seem like our job is easier than somebody else. But just having our knowledge of our system has really been a huge plus for us, and that word of mouth continues to grow, and people want to come work here.
Great. Thank you, Chief.
Vice Chair Chandler.
Thank you, Chief. This is terrific. I'm very excited to see such great stats. I just have a couple of questions. Obviously, you must be getting into the community, and this good news must be getting out. What can we do to support that? And also, can we ask you to come along with us if we do community meetings?
Yeah, that's exactly what I would recommend. And we do a lot here, especially downtown Denver, as well as the tech center. I was just out down at Denver South and such. And, a lot of people don't understand how much emphasis, RTD does put for a welcoming trans environment and people's personal safety. Again, a lot of people don't realize all that our general manager does in regards to allowing us to upgrade the cameras. Even the FBI came over and saw our camera room, and they were jealous. And so for the FBI to be jealous of us is a huge win for our organization. So what I do recommend is us, as much as you want us to come out there, speak about what we do, provide even a smaller scale of this PowerPoint, really showcases, again, that perception. We need to change the perception that public transportation is not, safe for people to take downtown or to a game, and it's not there. And I think if we're able to go there, especially somebody within our staff wearing a uniform and explaining that and answering questions, I think it's just a huge plus. So any community outreach events you have, please let us know. We'll be happy to join you.
And I have a quick follow-up. I was at the 9 Mile Park and Ride, and the elevator situation, it was closed. And I thought that we were going to start activating the open elevator project in more places, and I thought that was going to happen there. So I would just maybe take a look and make sure that elevator program, because I thought that was brilliant, and it was an immediate way to see the crime in that specific spot lowered. So if you could just make sure that is continuing to happen around, that would be grateful. But I do know that I've used the not the current stats, because I haven't spoken in the community recently, but I know that the stats that Mr. Summers has put out, I've used in the past, and I really appreciated having those updated. So thank you. And next time I go out, Chief, I might ask you to come with me.
All right. Thank you.
Secretary Nicholson, I see your hand up again.
What? No, me? Chief Martingano, I know that the voters passed Prop 130 in 2024 to allocate $350 million a year from the general fund toward policing. And I know that in SB 161, the legislature gave RTD pathways to access that money. And so I was wondering, what have you and GMCEO Johnson done over this past year, past 6 months, to try to open up those pathways to fund the work that you're doing and to fund, the security of RTD?
Yeah, so in regards to some of the grants, I mean, we do access grants, a lot more of the federal-based ones. That's how we have our detection dogs, our canine, as goes through the Homeland Security. We do look at the different grants and see what fits our department needs. Some of those grants, and I'm not to get too specific, but some of them sometimes has an added cost or a future cost on it. So we look at all that, especially when we start developing the 5-year financial forecast and other things. Some grants are great for a year, but you then have to maintain them for the rest of that officer's career or the longevity of the technology. So we look at a lot of that. Our emergency management team does a great job in regards to looking at different grants. Our integrated security team looks at different grants in regards to the replacement on cameras. So we look at what's going to best fit us, what's going to be fiscally responsible in regards to applying for that grant, and then obviously maintaining it. So asset management, everyone else gets involved depending on what we put in for to make sure that we're going to be able to replace that product and stay compliant with that grant as well. So
awesome. Maybe GMCEO Johnson wants to speak to, if you can, just anything the agency side has done in regard to that specific line of funding.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Please.
I would amplify what was disseminated relative to the grant process memorandum that I disseminated. Quite naturally, there's a process recognizing when we have different initiatives underway, but more specific relative to those monies, it was basically geared toward training aspects. I know that Chief Martingano, as well as other members of the staff, have their analysts, budget analysts that look at the various aspects. And you can confirm that Chief Martingano, I believe we were leveraging different programs with the Colorado Bureau of Investigations as we were looking at various aspects of moving forward and having them supplement. And more to the point, there was a specific training program I know you and I spoke about, and it escapes me, but be happy to double back and provide information to the full body relative to what we are doing, because I'm speaking cold and I do know that we have leveraged that going forward. So I don't want to misrepresent the agency's intent with those dollars, because it was very critical as we move forward looking at the enhanced penalties for misdemeanor on the assault of transit workers that included those monies that you have referenced. Thank you very kindly for the opportunity to opine.
Secretary Nicholson, do you have a follow-up or do you have a new question?
New question, so I'll let Whitmore go.
Okay, Director Whitmore.
Thank you, Director Nicholson. Chief, just wanted to add to the kudo list. You've been a steadying force and a motivational force in building our force to a position that certainly was not in when I came on board back in 2019. So I appreciate that tremendously and appreciate your presentations. As a matter of fact, I have texted my fellow North board member. We'd love to have you present at the North Area Transit Alliance sometime in 2026. You've got a multitude of municipalities there, and I think the interaction that you have with them and others are worth note for the mayors and city council members that will be there. And so we look forward to trying to get that scheduled. And with that, Mr. Chair, I will need to depart the meeting in a few minutes to go to another event. Thank you.
Thank you. Secretary Nicholson, I'm gonna cut you off after this question.
Yep, this is my last one. I was keeping track. So Chief Martingano, about a week ago, I spoke with a couple of your officers about just, how things were going, ask them questions, make conversations. And one of the major items that got brought up was the issue of direct filing and the ability of our officers to arrest people and file cases exactly the same way as if they were, members of DPD. And the fact that currently in Denver, at least as far as I know, we're still not able to do that. And I know that you and General Counsel Snyder and GMCO Johnson have been diligently working on that this year. But since it came up for me very recently, I thought I might ask if you can give us a status update on how those conversations are going, how the city's responding, where are we at with that effort?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the question. So we were gaining some momentum with our the director of safety, Armando Sedate. He has since left. He went over to CBI. So there's a new manager of safety. We actually met with Director Gardner last week. It was a good meeting. It was myself, our new deputy chief, Sean Ferris, as well as Chief Thomas and Sheriff Diggins. We all met to start those communications up again. Obviously, he just stepped into this role. They've had other items that are a little bit more precedent in regards to their budget and others. So we had the initial meeting, and we're going to continue. There's been talk about continuing those conversations. One of the things, that the direct filing with our detective unit, we now could direct file to 7 of those 8 counties. Obviously, Denver, City and County of Denver being one of them. So this is really a great opportunity for us to make sure we're being compliant with state law in regards to the correct filings, getting all the information, all the evidence. So then that would also, I think, help us in regards to communication when we meet with Denver again. So it's kind of a process. We're getting a lot closer, and I think with obviously the expansion of the BRT, other transit initiatives within the city and county of Denver, I think are going to strengthen our ability to hopefully do more at specific locations. Right now, with all our bus stops, at least if we could dedicate certain locations to be like, hey, can we expand our authority to Civic Center, BRT? I think it might be a little bit better conversations than just saying a blanket all over Denver, at this point in time. And again, we have our resources, we have our officers. We continue that great partnership with Denver, so we do need them to assist us a lot in regards to the city and county of Denver. So we're going to continue those talks, and hopefully we could expand our abilities. But right now, with our new initiatives, the focus in the other 7 counties are going to be a huge test for us, and be able to hopefully showcase, that we're one of the premier law enforcement agencies in the metropolitan area. So
that's great to hear. Thank you.
Chief Martingano, I have a quick question. So out in Arvada, we have the G line, and I know that's not you all, it's Allied. I was at a town hall the other night, and there's still the lingering just fear that people have about, bad actors on our trains. I'm just curious, because they were talking about not always getting their fare checked or not seeing Allied presence on the trains. I'm curious, is there the ability to kind of prod a little bit to kind of have their staff members be a little bit more, their security officers be a little more present?
Yeah, so I would hope that the Allies on that train, because it probably wouldn't have been running because we need the second crew member, and chances are, with the contract, they are the second crew member. I will tell you though, obviously with the huge emphasis on fare and more fare checks, if I do contact you and you don't have your fare and they're following the fare matrix correctly, there's going to be a little bit more time to get you involved, get you situated, write a citation, write a warning. So it's kind of a twofold. We're being more present. Those fare checks are going up. But if you could get specific dates and times, if your constituents do reach out to you, we could kind of see in regards to what might have occurred, because that is sometimes we'll get those through customer care. I didn't see somebody here and there, and then we look at the CAD and we realize there was an incident on the rear car, and the security was involved in doing something there, and they weren't able to get to the first car by the time the 3 or 4 stops went by. So those are things that we want to look at to not only audit our security contract, but also give somebody an answer. So
perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I said I was going to try to end this meeting by 6:30, but I still have other matters. I have one other matter, but I would like to offer the floor first before I speak. I don't see you. I don't see you, Secretary Nicholson. I don't see you. All right, go fast.
Sorry. So this question is actually for COO Prosser. Earlier today, I heard from a constituent about concerns with regard to the HVAC systems on our light rail trains. They were on a train that was extremely cold on what was otherwise a fairly cold day, and I was wondering if you could just give us a bit of an update on what we're doing as we get into the really cold months to make sure that people on our trains are adequately heated at all times.
Yeah, thank you, Director Nicholson, for the question. I could talk just broadly what we normally do related to light rail vehicle temperature. And what we're really discussing here is about passenger comfort. So this, of course, is one of the priorities that we have from an operations and maintenance perspective. When we talk about maintenance, part of the preventive maintenance is to perform and ensure that the HVAC and the climate control systems are functioning properly. The temperatures for the passenger vehicles are generally set to be around 72 degrees Fahrenheit year round. So what happens is the technicians verify that all of the vehicle's systems are working during their make ready process. And then we also have the operators do a pre-trip inspection before those vehicles leave the yard. And of course, if there's any kind of fault or issue with the HVAC or the climate, that gets reported and addressed accordingly. I'll stop there just to see if that answers your question or if there's more that you would like me to share.
Very quick question, follow-up. Do we send out a vehicle? Will we send out a light rail vehicle or a commuter rail vehicle if the heater is not working?
So I would say under normal circumstances, if there was an issue or a fault with the HVAC system, the passenger vehicle would not leave the yard.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate the work you're doing.
Yep.
Anybody else? Okay. So this is our last Operation Safety and Security meeting for the year. I have a lot of thank yous to go around. First and foremost, I just want to thank you, GM CEO Johnson, for your partnership here and how amazing your staff has been on navigating a very peculiar year. And it just you all have really been fantastic. You've been great partners, and really appreciate everyone that has either presented or put together a presentation or just been involved in any way, shape, or form in making these meetings happen. So I want to thank you all for that. I would like to thank this committee for, again, also navigating a little bit of a interesting year. And I'd like to thank Vice Chair Chandler for stepping in to succeed me. And I just really appreciate you, and I appreciate your steady hand and your good thoughtfulness and your good questions. And if there are any community members out here watching, thank you for watching. Thank you for writing letters, for calling, for coming in, for showing up. And this has been it's been a hard year. We've dealt with some really heavy things, and I appreciate everyone that has expressed an opinion, an idea, given us something to chew on, to think about, to work with. And that's just been really great. And then my last one, I sort of circled around it, but I really want to thank the board staff. I talked about people presenting, but you all are behind the scenes. You put everything together for us. You make these meetings happen, and they wouldn't be possible without your help. So I thank you all so much for your assistance, and You are really the kind of rock that keep this board going, and thank you. And so with that, if nobody has anything else to add, I am gonna talk about our next meeting. The next Operations Safety and Security Committee meeting is Director Nicholson. I was right there.
This will take 10 seconds.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you, Mr. Chair. You stepped into the breach and have done a really, really effing phenomenal job this year. And, you know, I'm incredibly grateful for the time you put in and your ability to lead this committee. And I'm sure every single other person on the committee feels exactly the same way. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that. Now I'm only 5 minutes over. The next Operations Safety and Security Committee meeting is scheduled for January of 2026, where the committee will hold elections for chair and vice chair, receive an update on the partnership program, and discuss our work plan for the coming year. Seeing no other discussion items, this meeting is adjourned at 6:36 p.m.